China may have used the deadly coronavirus pandemic to even the playing field on the world stage, an expert has claimed, as the communist nation's initial response to the crisis is scrutinized. Asia political expert and author Gordon Chang claimed China's President Xi Jinping's actions suggest he intended to spread coronavirus around the world, something the communist nation has always denied. During an interview with Express.co.uk, Mr. Chang said he believed China had behaved maliciously, and he claims there was evidence to suggest they had taken steps to attack all nations of the world. He also insisted the origin of the virus was not as important as scrutinizing China for how they behaved at the beginning of the pandemic. Mr. Chang said, China maliciously spread this disease beyond its borders. This could have been accidental release from a lab, or it could have been from the wet market, who knows? But what is important is not how the disease started but rather what Beijing did in response to it. He continued, we, of course, don't know what was in Xi Jinping's mind. But after having seen what the coronavirus did to cripple China, if he wanted to level the playing field by spreading the disease beyond his borders, he would have done exactly what he did do. This was malicious and the first time in history one country has attacked all others. As we come to terms with that, China has a lot to lose. Mr. Chang also highlighted the key concerns he had with China's initial reaction to the coronavirus pandemic. He questioned the information coming out of China and highlighted his fears the secretive country was willing and hoping to deceive the world. He said, Beijing only announced human-human transmission on January 20, but doctors in Wuhan knew that the second week of December. If during that interim period China had said nothing, that would have been grossly irresponsible. But what Beijing tried to do was to deceive the world into thinking that it was not human-to-human transmission. He claims that China pressured other nations to continue to allow travel from China, despite their knowledge of the dangerousness of the virus. He continued, at the same time Beijing knew that people could spread this, it pressured countries to not impose travel restriction and quarantines on arrivals from China. You put those two facts together and you come to an unthinkable conclusion. President Xi Jinping caused outrage earlier this week when he announced China had behaved responsibly and transparently with the rest of the world during the coronavirus pandemic. President Xi also claimed China had turned the tide on the virus and protected the life and well-being of its people. China has consistently urged the United States to stop what it sees as virus slander. The U.S. should stop wasting time in its fight against the coronavirus and work with China to combat it, rather than spreading lies and attacking the country, the Chinese government's top diplomat Wang Yi said on Sunday. State Councillor Wang, speaking at his annual news conference on the sidelines of China's parliament, expressed his deep sympathies to the United States for the pandemic, where the death toll is expected to surpass 100,000 in the coming days, the highest number of any country. Regretfully, in addition to the raging coronavirus, a political virus is also spreading in the United States. This political virus is using every opportunity to attack and smear China, said Wang, who is also China's foreign minister. Some politicians have ignored the most basic facts and concocted too many lies about China and plotted too many conspiracies. He added, I want to say here, don't waste precious time any longer, and don't ignore lives, Wang said. What China and the United States need to do the most is to first learn from each other and share their experience in fighting against the epidemic, and help each country fight it. China has always advocated that, as the world's largest developing country and the largest developed country, both of us bear a major responsibility for world peace and development, he said. China and the United States stand to gain from cooperation, and lose from confrontation.